Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today I am really excited to be recording this video because we have some big news coming out of the LCS. Yesterday, I kind of made a video just wrapping up all the different LCS news and rumors that we've heard over the past couple of weeks, a bunch of kind of smaller stories and everything, and some rumors involving 100 Thieves, their academy roster, what's going to be happening with Tenacity, Kenvi, all these different guys. And today we got more information, so doing a little bit of a follow-up to that video yesterday, and again with some big info to talk about today. But first, a word from today's sponsor, and that is of course Prize Picks. This is daily fantasy made easy. You simply pick your favorite stars, choose your over under, and watch your players win. And tomorrow, or I guess today, the day that this video drops, MSI is back, so I'm looking at making some MSI picks for sure. And here is some of the picks that I'm looking at. Caps against T1. G2 has had T1's number, over the past couple of years. I know Faker and T1 are going to be looking for their revenge, but I'm taking Caps over 2.5 kills. I'm taking Jankos over 1.5 kills. I just think both those numbers are way too low. And then I also have Inspired here over a 1.5 kills against RNG. Obviously, I don't think EG is going to beat RNG, and I think it's going to be a tough game, but I could see Inspired getting 2 kills. Hey, it could happen. If you guys want to make some picks of your own, definitely check out the first link in the description below. And Prize Picks is actually going to match your first deposit up to $100 for new users. A really awesome deal. So thank you to them. Hopefully you guys check them out. With that being said, let's get right into this. This is the big story of the day. This is coming from Alejandro. I don't even want to try to pronounce his name because I always say it wrong. He reached out to me one time and said that I was saying it wrong. He didn't tell me how to say it, but I don't want to keep butchering it. But Alejandro, he is one of, I really do think one of the best reporters out there, one of the best kind of investigative journalists, whatever you want to call it. But he did say, sources, Kenvi LOL is set to join Immortals in the LCS, and he will be the jungler of the NA organization. Also, an interesting note, he says among the possible other options, Sven Skaren was considered. And obviously, this is a rumor we had kind of heard before, like who is going to be that Immortals jungler and having all the different names thrown around. And this is very interesting because Kenvi for the past couple of splits has been one of the top North American prospects. If you don't know about this guy, we can pull him up on, I don't even know what this is called, fandom, lol.fandom.com. You will see Shane Kenneth Espinoza. He is from the Philippines. He is 19 years old, and he's not going to turn 20 until October. This is like a legit 19-year-old, not a guy who's about to turn 20, during the summer split or anything like that. He'll be turning 20, I guess, during Worlds or maybe maybe right before World starts, maybe during Worlds. I'm not exactly sure the dates of everything, but a 19-year-old North American resident. And obviously, this is a time when a lot of different people are talking about North American prospects, especially coming off the success of EG. Obviously, EG hasn't had the best MSI in the world. Hey, there's still Rumble stage in the quarter, and not the quarterfinals, but the semifinals and everything still left to be played. We'll have to see how that all plays out. But EG with two very young North American players in Jojo Pune and Danny, and then they had Vulcan as well, who's a North American player, more of a veteran, but still a lot of NA players. They had a lot of success. They were able to win the LCS championship, and it's a cool story, and the fans got excited. The fans loved it. I was in Houston, Texas, and the fans rallied behind EG. One, because Danny was making crazy plays. He was super fun to watch, but also when you're watching Liquid, which is all imports, and you're watching 100 Thieves, which is all imports, and then you have a team with some actual North American players on it, it's going to be very easy for North American fans to rally behind that. And if you're a team like Immortals, who doesn't necessarily have the biggest fan base in the world, if you can go out and land one of the best North American prospects out there, a young guy who has the potential to develop into a franchise player for you, he's a guy who's on the level of a Jojo Pune and a Danny as far as prospect goes. Maybe he's a little bit of a step down. Jojo Pune was kind of one of the biggest prospects we've seen in North America in quite some time, but Kenvi really is on that level. He has been seen over the past year or two as one of the best players in Academy, and a guy that absolutely deserved to be in LCS. Now, he was with 100 Thieves, and Closer was ahead of him, and that was always going to be difficult to break into the starting lineup. The story we'd kind of heard in the past from 100 Thieves was that Kenvi wanted to try to go to a top 5 LCS team, or he was going to be fine staying in Academy. Now, that's all good and fine, but it's always going to be hard to break into one of those top 5 teams, because those top 5 teams, they are going to have a bunch of the top junglers from North America that want to come to them. You know, guys like Blabber, guys like Spica. These guys are usually going to end up on one of these top 5 teams. And then you're also going to have teams going after imports and going after big names. You know, like LEC MVP Inspired is here. Closer is here. Santorin, you know, he's a guy who's been here for a little bit while. But you know, you also had TL bringing in guys like Broxa. So it's tough for a rookie who's unproven to make it onto one of these top 5 teams, because these top 5 teams have really, really large investments. They have high expectations. They can't take as many chances on some of these young teams, which was also what made it a little bit crazier. You know, that EG ends up winning the title when you have all these other teams spending all this money. You know, TSM, C9, TL, 100 Thieves throwing around all this money, and what EG was doing was a risk. It was a calculated risk, and it was not necessarily expected to produce a championship this year, but it still worked out. Now, I don't think Immortals bringing up Kenvi to the LCS is going to make them championship contenders all of a sudden. But again, if he does well, that could be awesome for them in so many ways. 1, they could have a new franchise player. 2, they could potentially gain a ton of fans, especially right now when fans really, really want to see North American talent in the LCS. Or if he pops off, even if your team sucks, you can always sell him off for a ton of money, because having a NA resident player who's playing really, really well is something that the top 5 teams are always going to be looking for. They just can't always be the ones to take a chance on some of these players. You know, some of these teams do better than others at developing them, but it was going to be hard for Kenvi to break in. So, you know, he could have perma sat in academy forever and waited for the perfect moment, or at some point you might have to bet on yourself. You might have to take a chance and go to Immortals. So at the end of the day, I do think it's really, really cool of him, of taking a chance with Immortals. I think it's cool of Immortals, you know, actually going and buying him out. I wonder how much that deal is for, but I do think this is good, because this is what I said in the video yesterday as well, is I want the LCS to be the 10 best players, the 10 most exciting players, the 10 most interesting players. And again, Kenvi has been one of the biggest and most hyped up prospects for the past couple of splits, and not having him in the LCS just because the bottom 5 teams don't like spending money and kind of suck and are seen as like a risk for these players, that sucks. And I want to see these guys getting called up. So this is going to be interesting to see. You know, obviously some of the bigger prospects that we've been wondering about for a while have been Jojo Pune. We saw him burst onto the scene and win a title in his first split. Tenacity, who got to play one single game for 100 Thieves this past split, and then Kenvi as well. Now, it's cool that Kenvi is finally going to be getting a shot. It does seem like Tenacity is going to be going back to Academy. I hope he does end up in the LCS before too long. But yeah, that is where we are at. I think this is very, very cool. One of the biggest and most hyped up Academy prospects finally getting to break into the LCS. Yes, it's with Immortals. Yes, they just finished last place in the LCS. Yes, this might be a tough situation for him to thrive in. But if he does good and he makes a name for himself, again, it's going to give Immortals a lot more options going forward, and it's going to give himself a lot more options going forward, because he's pretty much done everything in Academy at this point. You know, he can't really prove himself anymore in Academy, and if you want to break into one of those top rosters, you're going to have to prove yourself at an LCS level, and this will definitely be an opportunity to do that. And it's not like the Immortals roster is totally terrible. They've actually made some interesting kind of roster moves. You know, I'm covering it up right now, but under here you can see that they have Revenge in the top lane. They're bringing in Kenvi. They have Power of Evil, who, if you're on one of the bottom 5 teams, you know, you're going to have some probably not good players on your team. Power of Evil is a really good mid laner. Like, I would rather have Power of Evil, you know, than Blue, than Palafox. I would probably even take Power of Evil over to Koi. You know, it's close probably between him and Maple. Like, I don't think if you're a new jungler coming into the LCS and you end up with Power of Evil, yes, you can question his builds, you can question his champ pool, all that stuff, but I don't think he's the worst mid laner you could have in the world. This guy has had international success before. He's had a long career. He's a great veteran. It seems like he's easy to work with. Seems like a nice guy. I don't think this will be really, really cool. They've brought in Lost. They've brought in Ignar. I think overall Immortals is a lot better than they were last split. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means a 7th place finish, an 8th place finish. Who knows? But I don't think Kenvi is totally getting thrown to the wolves. I don't think he's going to, you know, like 2021 CLG or anything like that. So I do hope that this does work out for him. But either way, it's going to be super, super cool. It makes Immortals a way more interesting, a way more exciting team to watch for this coming summer split. And yeah, people have been asking and clamoring for North American talent to get a shot. So this is a big win to see a guy actually getting called up to the LCS, actually getting promoted, actually getting his chance, and good luck to him. Hey, I'm a fan of North American players. I'm a fan of North American talent. I hope he does well. But no matter what, I don't think, you know, Immortals has crazy high expectations for the summer. But I am glad that this got done. I'm glad we're getting to see him. And now we got to work on getting Tenacity up to the LCS. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this move. Are you excited to see Kenvi on Immortals? You think he's going to do well? You think the team's going to do well? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out Prize Picks. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then. Peace.